Oxford by a Very Oxford Cat. Part 2. Simeon's First Big Adventure. My adventure begins. Our neighbours, Sam and Jan, are just getting into their car. "Are you going to the vet?" I hear Sam ask. "No," says Julia. "Simeon wants to explore Oxford and I'm taking him there on the bus. He's got a brand new collar for the occasion. I'm wearing dark blue to meld in." The rush hour is over, so the number 2 bus is nice and quiet, trundling down the road, past Oxford Parkway Station and on into town. In 20 minutes, I'll be in the city of dreaming spires and embarking on my Oxford BA. That is my Oxford Big Adventure. And I will ride on the open-top bus. I'll get the front seat, I hope, and I'll hop on and hop off just as I like. What a tour I have ahead. I'll see the castle and the real Alice in Wonderland's home. I'll also see where William Webb Ellis was a student and where Stephen Hawking and C.S. Lewis and Bill Clinton were all students. And where Mr. Bean and Tim Berners-Lee studied. Perhaps I'll even meet Lucy or Edmund from the Chronicles of Narnia. I can't wait. We get off the number 2 bus in town and walk the half mile to the railway station, as I want to make sure I get the front seat. When the tour bus draws in, I am at the front of the queue. I show my ticket to the driver, then zoom straight up the stairs. I want that front seat. Success! And now we are on our way and the tour guide is in full throttle. I start to listen. Our tour will take around an hour and we will drive down 3 of Oxford's finest streets. Indeed, 3 of Europe's finest streets, he's saying. These are the High Street, Broad Street, and St. Giles. Blah, blah, blah. Then he says something about 3 Oxfords. The town, the university, and the Oxford of stories and imagination. More blah, blah, blah. You are welcome to hop off at any stage. Good, I will. Too much blah when I need to find the white rabbit if I'm to go into Wonderland today. Then the tour guide tells some stories. I like the one about the second university term being called Hilary, after St. Hilary of Poitiers, or, to give him his formal name, St. Hilarious. Oh, very funny, I think to myself. He goes on, note that is without the O. His name means happy, and he may indeed have been hilarious, but history doesn't divulge. A very dry English kind of joke. People smile in an English kind of way. Cars and a castle. Then the guide tells us a story which I can hardly believe. We're just passing Nuffield College. He explains that Nuffield was founded by someone called Will Morris, who became Viscount Nuffield. Will's parents moved to Oxford when Will was just 3 years old, as they wanted to return to the area where they grew up. Will left school aged 15 to train as a bicycle repairer. From there, he built his own bikes in his backyard, and then he built the huge Morris Garage empire. I like stories where exciting things happen, so I'm listening hard. The guide then talks about the Nuffield Trust and medical advancement. So this bicycle repairer founded a world-famous car factory and a college and gave millions to the university and set up a fund for medical research? It's a good thing his parents didn't decide to immigrate instead. Imagine the Morris Oxford being the Morris Sydney or the Morris Toronto. Imagine Oxford without its car industry. Imagine there being no Nuffield funding for UK medical advance. It's funny how history works out. Maybe I'll found a cat food empire and call it Simeon of Oxford, after myself, you'll understand. I'd quite like a knighthood. When Queen Catherine is in Buckingham Palace, I'm sure she'd give me one if I go to see her. Pussycat, where have you been? I've been to London to see Queen Catherine. Pussycat, what did you there? I asked if the Queen had a knighthood to spare. I'm lost in my dreams, and I almost missed the castle. There it is, I gasp as the bus turns the corner. What a mound! This would be my first stop. Others are getting out too, so I have to watch their feet as I make my way deftly down the stairs. This is so interesting. A castle built in 1071, not long after the Norman conquest in 1066, and a prison too. I decide to sneak in on the tour. We hear how the first medical students at Christchurch would come to collect the bodies of prisoners who were hanged and use them for dissection. The convicts were terrified of this happening to them, even more terrified than they were of being hanged. How horrible! Back on the bus, the tour guide tells us about the Westgate shopping centre, but I'm not materialistic. I always travel light. We get to St. Aldate's, and the guide asks us to glance to the right, to the police station, where Inspector Morse and Sergeant Lewis were based, and beyond that, to Folly Bridge, where we could hire a punt or be punted. What, me? Punting? Nonsense. Rule 101 of holding a microphone is to know your audience. They're clearly not used to having feline passengers.